write at the New York Times a column called Disruptions. And what Disruptions is it's exploring how technology is disrupting society in lots of different ways. I look at robots, I look at the way children use technology, the way the blind use technology, social media, and so on. One of the things that I'm kind of famous for is in America, we were not allowed to use technology on airplanes, and I didn't like that rule. So I started doing all this research looking at why it existed, and eventually, after about 3 years of reporting, convinced the FAA to overturn that rule so you can now use devices on airplanes. I don't know if that applies to Europe yet, but we can still work on it. In the US, for smartphones, adults spend 2.5 hours every day. Teens spend double that, with 5 hours and 12 minutes each day. And as BuzzFeed said, social is on a serious growth pain, and the millenniums are the driving force behind it. One thing is flexible displays. Right now, there's a lot of you that have paper in your hands, but in the future, you're going to have these. These are flexible devices that are completely bendable. This is made by Samsung. It's a 5 to 55-inch screen that is completely flexible. LG is working on this technology with a fully flexible color display. One of the beauties of flexible displays is that they can be printed on a printer just like we print ink, so you don't have to have robots putting together technology with chips and so on. What you do is you have the technology that's printed, and you can do it much cheaper, and you can do it much quicker. At MIT, they are working on the flexible displays that are made of e-ink, and e-ink is the same thing in the Kindle. And Samsung has been working on flexible smartphones, and the idea is that these things can bend in lots of different ways, that they cannot break. There are lots of different benefits from these technologies. Another thing I wanted to talk about is wearables. Wearables is another big part of the future of technology, and something that we're all going to be wearing if some people are not wearing them today. There's a huge battle for this right now. There's a lot of people trying to figure out, what is the future of wearables, how it'll work, if it's going to be watches or glasses. One of the things I say about wearables is that, in the past we would walk to our computers. In the present, we carry them in our hand, like this. But in the future, we'll wear them. Wearable computing on your face is a really, really fascinating technology, but it's also a very scary technology because it brings up a lot of issues with privacy. So the first time I ever wore a pair of Google Glass, I put them on and I said, oh my God, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. But then what happened was a few weeks later, after I tried it for the first time, I had a scary moment. I went to a party in Silicon Valley, a dinner party, and I stood across from someone who was wearing the same things that I tried on, the Google Glass, and I felt like I was standing across from someone who had a camera in my face.